And unmuted. So, hello. Let's say hello to the chat. We've got Peggy. We've got Miss Persevere. Louise. Karen, if you check my posts, if you remember when we did the Susan Murphy, you asked me who was the person they was actually looking for. Well, I saw a post yesterday saying that, who it was that they were actually looking for. They found that person, so there's an update there for you. Louise, Aurora. Right, so before we start, while we wait for everyone, just a reminder, this is a fan-funded channel, so if you'd like to buy a super chat or a membership to support the channel, or you can support the channel privately via these links below. But the best way to support the channel is to like, subscribe, and to share. Yeah, if you're on an iPhone, there's a membership there for you that I'll pin actually, just in case somebody wants to join. Mr. Free Spirit, hello. Okay, so this case is from Canada, Jack and Lily. It's been going on since. Let me get my information up for you. But here is the flyer. I will post this afterward. No, it's already on my post actually. If you want it, just dig through the posts. You'll find it there for you to share and help distribute. Let's get my notes up for you. So this is the 2nd of May. Jack and Lily Sullivan are Canadian siblings. They disappeared from their rural home in. Now I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Gearlock Road, Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia, and that happened on May the 2nd. Lily is 6 years old, shoulder-length hair, light brown with bangs. Might have been wearing a pink sweater, pink pants, and pink boots. Jack is 4 years old, short blondish hair, wearing blue dinosaur boots. And we've got some images for you. Well, first I'm going to read out this bit. A large-scale effort was immediately undertaken and was scaled back on May the 7th. There is now a £150,000 reward. This reward is being offered by the Province of Nova Scotia for information about the disappearance of the siblings, Lily and Jack Sullivan. We've got a clip on that, but just before I play the clip on that, I want to show you Lily and Jack up close. This live is full of information, so it might go on long. I'm trying to make it as quickly as possible, but I'm not going to rush information and get things wrong. So that's Lily and Jack. Let me play the clip for you of about the reward.
It's another plea for help to try to figure out what happened to 4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lily Sullivan.
Investigators are looking at every avenue, and we're using every tool possible. And this is simply another avenue that could shed some more light or information to come forward.
That avenue is the RCMP asking Nova Scotia's Department of Justice to add the children's disappearance to the province's rewards program, offering up to $150,000 for information to figure out what happened.
I can't speculate as to the nature of information that may either lead to the solving of this case or to a reward, and I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from reaching out. We want anybody who has any information, and no matter how small they think it is, to reach out.
It's now been almost 7 weeks since the Sullivan children went missing from their family's home in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, a tragedy gripping the county, province, and beyond.
I certainly don't remember in my years seeing two young kids going missing like this and nothing coming out of it yet.
Lily is 4 feet tall and 60 pounds and believed to be wearing a pink Barbie top with rubber boots and a cream-colored backpack with strawberry print. Jack is 3'6", weighing 40 pounds. Officials believe he was wearing a pull-up diaper, black Under Armour jogging pants, and blue rubber boots with a dinosaur print. Since their May 2nd disappearance, police have received 508 tips and interviewed 56 people. All have cooperated with police. Former OPP Commissioner and CTV Public Safety Analyst Chris Lewis says the rewards program is a risk-free step for the police.
What tells me is, number one, that there is a bit of a stalemate somehow in their investigation in all likelihood, and they're looking to get more conversation going. Potentially what they want is a tip that will lead them to whoever is responsible for this.
And Chris Lewis, who you just heard from at the end of the story, says at the end of the day, someone out there knows something about what happened in this horrific case. Hundreds of people, dogs, drones, and helicopters were involved in extensive searches. The last one was June 1st. RCMP again saying further searches will be dictated by information that comes forward. The province's justice minister says she's hopeful including this case in the rewards program will help bring it to a close. Todd.
All right, we'll see. Callum Smith.
Okay. So, RCMP stated a missing person investigation for Lily, started a missing investigation for Lily and Jack, Lily 6 and Jack 4, after the family members could not locate the children at or around the property in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County. If you have any information, please contact Pictou County RCMP on 1902 485 4333 or Crime Stoppers on 1800 222 tips 8477 or contact MCSC on 1800 661 6160 or email tips@rcsc.ca. The information there is on on today's banner. The banner will change throughout the live, but it'll mainly be on the banner. So what's that? Hello, since May the 2nd. So, on to the next bit. The family reported they last saw Lily inside the home and could hear Jack on the morning of May the 2nd. So eyes were not on Jack, but were on Lily. The investigation confirmed that Jack and Lily were with family members on the afternoon of May the 1st, as you'll hear later on. This ends online speculation that the children were missing sooner than reported. It is believed that they left through the sliding door, which Mom claims is a silent door. Let me hang on. I might have a picture. I do have a picture of the sliding door. No, that's clips. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. So this is the sliding door that Mom referred to. Yeah. Okay. Back to that. Right. Mom claims he's silent. Mom says she heard them playing in the room next to her while she drifted in and out of sleep. She asked her partner Daniel if he heard the kids. He replied no, so they instantly searched outside, yelling their names. Then Malaya called 911 immediately. On Jack and Lily, she says they will talk your ear off and will talk to anyone. She goes on to speak about the pain and sorrow felt wanting them home. Here's a clip of what she said in more detail when she gave an interview to. There we go.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal. and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
Okay. So from that, I'm not getting any red flags from the mom. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat while we go over the next part. I do find it suspicious that mom left the house where children were last seen. There's lots of online speculation as to why she left, but that could just simply be a family member, i.e. a mom, didn't want her in those conditions, or that CPS told her she had to leave because of the conditions. While I go over the next bit, let me know in the chat, or if you're on replay, in the comments, so we can discuss later or going forward. Right, here's a small clip from law enforcement, and this is dated June 12th. And this is law enforcement tells CTV News where they have searched, discussed tips, and discussed tips received, talk about polygraphs, items taken from the home, and video footage that they have collected. So, June 12th.
6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing from their Lansdowne Station home in rural Pictou County on May 2nd. Since then, RCMP have launched an extensive investigation, and today police offered an update and detailed look at what's been done so far. But still, RCMP won't say if they've identified any persons of interest, suggesting that might compromise the current investigation, but did say they've conducted polygraphs.
The Truth Verification Unit is engaged. There's multiple facets to those investigations, and those experts are examining every question and answer that those individuals are providing, and it could guide the investigation.
Police have collected hundreds of hours of video from the area and have interviewed 54 people in all and have received 488 tips. As for the search, they say they've scoured the Sullivan children's home, including outbuildings, septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts, and have seized multiple devices and materials, but police couldn't say if that extensive search and investigation work has led to any new evidence.
The information gathered to date has not identified any new search areas at this time.
What's most significant is the administering of polygraph tests, says CTV's policing expert and former OPP polygraph examiner Chris Lewis.
You don't do polygraph tests and waste that resource on people that just maybe saw something, heard something, or is a real remote suspect. That's not the way it works. So if they're doing polygraph tests and examinations on people, those are people that they may well suspect have been involved in some way or for whatever reason aren't being honest.
Police say the missing person investigation continues, and they are following all tips and ask anyone who may have information to contact Crime Stoppers. Jesse Thomas, CTV News.
Okay, so let me just check me. Yep. So the officer comes straight out saying that all interviews that have taken place so far are being examined, and the answers in particular are being investigated, hoping it can guide the investigation further. The home and surrounding area have been combed thoroughly, and multiple devices and materials have been taken for evidence. Okay, so I've got 54 people here. We heard 56. We're going to hear conflicting numbers, but they are within each other. They're not like, one says 50, one says 100. have been interviewed, as well as hundreds of hours of footage. 488 tips have been received so far as June 12th. On June 13th, former Halifax Major Crime Staff Sergeant Jim Hoskins speaks to Global News about the possibility of this now being a criminal investigation. In this clip, we will also hear from polygraph expert Tom Morello. Let me know what you think while the clip's playing, and I'll get that going for you now.
If this is not a criminal investigation now, I'd be totally surprised.
It's been almost 6 weeks since Lily and Jack Sullivan were first reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station. On Wednesday, the RCMP in Nova Scotia said many RCMP units, including Major Crime, are involved in the investigation, along with the National Center for Missing Persons. Police say they've formally interviewed 54 people in their search, and this former Halifax regional police officer doesn't take that lightly.
They're out there, and the only way they're going to see or get results in this is to be out there talking to people, looking at videos, looking at topography and what have you, and so on. They're not in offices doing this by a laptop, let's put it that way.
In an update this week, the RCMP say they've collected hundreds of hours of video from areas surrounding Lansdowne Station between April 28th and May 2nd, when the kids went missing, and have received nearly 500 tips from the public. Police say they've searched every aspect of the family's home and received authorization to seize and examine devices.
They'll go on the balance of probabilities based on the area that we fully searched with a lot of people. We can't find any evidence, be it a backpack, a shoe, or whatever. We can't find the kids. If you can't find them, somebody has to say enough is enough right now for searching those areas. So now we move to where? There's only one other option. A nefarious take to this. In other words, a criminal type thing. That's only my personal opinion.
Police say they've used polygraph tests in some interviews. This former polygraph examiner south of the border says the test is used to monitor how a person's nervous system responds to certain questions.
If somebody is successful in the test, then not that they're being eliminated, but they'll spend more time on people that are not successful. Not passing the test doesn't mean you're guilty or you're involved. It simply means that there's some issue there, maybe some knowledge, guilty knowledge.
Moriello says he's seen people pass tests who were later proven guilty. More than 160 search and rescue volunteers have scoured through the densely wooded area surrounding the children's home, but only a small boot print was found. Police continue to refer to the case as a missing persons investigation.
They're covering it all, everything they can. And you only do that in depth when there's a criminal investigation with Major Crime on scene. They're not there just because they're Major Crime. They're there to do their Major Crime work.
Mitchell Bailey, Global News, Halifax.
Okay. So, Jim Hoskins comes out very brass and points out what's going on in the investigation based off his experience and opinion. He also says they are certainly not investigating from the laptop, which I think is a brilliant dig at online detectives, air quotes, that make cases much worse than what they actually are. I like him genuinely. I think the way he comes across and everything's brilliant. He goes on to talk about lack of evidence found in the area leading to other avenues in the investigation. He says at some point they have to start looking other ways, like a criminal angle. He highlights this is only his opinion, and I really like this guy. I think he's brilliant with how blunt he is. So the polygraph expert, Tom Morello, weighs in saying people being successful doesn't rule them out as the investigation as a suspect, but allows police to divert resources to those not successful. He highlights that failing the test doesn't make someone guilty, but may point to them having guilty knowledge. It's pointed out that people have passed tests before and later been proven guilty. Great information in this clip. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. Let's jump into the chat. The next part, we're going to go over what Bio Dad's mother says. Have you got images of inside, Michelle? If so, could you drop me an email? It's on the screen, and I've changed banners somehow. I couldn't find nothing on the inside of the house. I've seen some pictures, but I didn't really want family members in there. It's rumoured that Mummy's hiding. Yeah, see, I heard that. I heard that there's a CPS investigation, but I couldn't find nothing legit. But after everything that I've gone through today, it does seem as if someone's either hiding them or they were taken. And I base that off the fact that they're not finding anything in the woods. Not a backpack, not a shoe, not a boot, nothing. So that's my opinion. Okay, so on June 18th, Grandma, Bio Dad Mom, spoke to CBC News Nova Scotia. I've broke it down into 3 clips so we can absorb and discuss as we watch them. In the first clip, she talks about how she found out about Lily and Jack's disappearance, her reaction to the news, her son Lily and Jack's dad, and helping with the search. Here's the clip for you. Here's clip 1.
My heart tells me these babies are gone. My heart tells me that. I am the grandmother of Lily and Jack. I am the grandmother on the biological father's side. My son is Cody Sullivan. He's not in jail. He's never been out west. He does not have a criminal record. And right now he's living with me. He has been for 9 months.
How did you find out that Lily and Jack were missing?
The mom of my grandson called me. We were in town. She asked if I heard the news. She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. I couldn't call Malaya yet, so I waited till we got home. And I called, well, I didn't call her, I texted her. And she told me that, yes, that the kids were missing, that they've been missing since this morning. I was in a state of panic, shock. But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, well, they'll find them. I mean, I'm assuming that they'd find them. So I told her, well, we'll head out first thing in the morning and help with the search. It was around between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. A couple of cop cars pull into the driveway. The lights wake me up that I'm a fairly light sleeper, so I see the cars pull in, so I knew what it was. So they come inside. They only stood in the kitchen. They wanted me to wake Cody up, and they wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just making sure that the kids weren't here. And then they left. So we showed up Saturday morning, me and my sister, and we met up with my daughter, and we started, well, I asked Malaya, I said, Malaya, I said, you know your kids. Nobody knows their kids like their mom. Where do your kids normally go to play out in the yard? What direction do they usually like to explore? And she said, well, they always play up in the little woods right on the side. I said, well, okay. I said, we'll start from that point and we'll work our way out. We had spoken to a search and rescue, and we weren't allowed on the other side because that's where they were searching at the time. So we just started combing through the woods up through there. We were gone for a couple of hours. I'm yelling for Lily and Jack. We always call Jack Jackie Boy.
Okay. So, just before we continue, I'd like to highlight this because I found this while getting the information. Where's my... There it is. So, this is circulating around social media, and that this is the bio dad. This is the criminal record of someone with the same name. It's not the bio dad. As you just heard, he's living with grandma. He's being interviewed by police at his home. That's come from police. This guy is currently incarcerated, so he's not this guy. So that's myth buster. Jackie Boy, yeah. Okay, so let's move forward then. So that criminal record is not bio dad. Okay, so here's some images of the property because Grandma speaks of the property in the next clip. Is the one that we saw earlier, the sliding doors. It's not the best of properties, and it's definitely not the tidiest. I mean, the fence is a bit random there, like, but this is what is being highlighted. Okay, so this is what's being highlighted. So stepdad's brother and mother live here on the side. They've got chicken coop here. It doesn't look too bad from this, but if you look around the property, you can see it's cluttered with rubbish and things like that. It's like organized chaos, if you will. Ooh, I think so too. Hey, Paulie. Yeah, okay. It's got nothing to do with this case, so. So there's the property. Clip 2, Grandma speaks highly of Malaya and praised her as a mother, and the shock of the conditions of the house. She also talks about her fondness of the children. So I'm going to play that clip for you now, so you can hear what she has to say about Malaya, which she does speak highly of her, which is good. Don't need people all falling apart in an investigation.
And yeah, that went on for a few hours, but those woods, I started to feel that I can't see them being in the woods. There's trees everywhere. You literally have to climb over trees, climb under bushes. It is really, really thick. We come back out and I went in to see Malaya again. I assumed she was in shock. She was very, very non-emotional, very just flat, monotone. But Malaya's very soft-spoken anyway, that she's not usually excitable. I thought that's made her a really great mom. She was an excellent mom. She never raised her kid or voice at the kids. That it was always, now Lily, what did mommy say? And I used to think, now if anybody's meant to be a mom, it was her. A part of me still feels that.
Why only a part of you still feels that? What do you mean?
After seeing the place, seeing the condition of the home, it was like the total opposite of what I knew of Malaya. She was always clean, very clean about herself, about the kids, about her home. This home looked more like a camp. Now, I don't know if it's from all the people that were there, because I didn't show up till the day after, but it was very unkempt. I was pretty surprised.
I love you.
Lily is, she was my little dream girl, that's the first granddaughter. And I love that she had the brown hair and she had a space between her teeth, which I had when I was a kid. So yeah, she was our little princess. Jack was such a sober, serious little baby that he didn't like to smile. You could tickle him and he would look at you ever so serious, like he was really studying you.
And so how long were your son and Malaya together?
3.5 years, I think it was, yeah. I thought they were the picture-perfect family. Then Malaya started to tell me that they were having problems and she wasn't happy. She told me that she wasn't happy and she thinks she's going to leave. And I told her that we supported whatever she decides, that one good parent is way better than 2 broken ones.
And then how did that change your relationship with Lily and Jack?
I thought it was going to change, but it didn't. Yeah, it didn't change. Malaya, she was a sweetheart. Anytime we wanted to see the kids, she'd come by for a visit. She'd bring them by all the time. It was actually really, really good.
So when was the last time you saw the children?
1.5 years, almost, really. It's about 1 year and 9 months.
How did you deal with that?
Really, to be honest, maybe I didn't deal good enough with it. I looked at the fact that when her and my son separated, my son walked away. He chose to walk away, that she wanted sole custody of the kids. So she petitioned the courts for sole custody, and when she did that, he said he was done.
Okay, so after watching that, I'm getting a genuine feeling that she cares for Malaya and that she thinks highly of her as a mother. She definitely cares and respects her as a mother. She seems genuinely shocked at the condition of the house because of her previous experiences with Malaya. And the fact that Malaya would live like that. One thing that stands out to me, she's very defensive of Malaya and her reaction to the whole situation. She says how shocked she is about the state of the house and how Malaya wouldn't have accepted this before. We've seen the pictures of the house, but if you want to see them again, I can just quickly grab them for you. Again, I haven't got inside the house. I did have some of inside the house, but I didn't want family members being shared and things like that. So this is out and around the property. Yep. As you can see, there's clutter around the house. In the background, stepdad's brother and mother are living there. They've got a chicken coop. And this is the back of the house. As you can see again, clutter. And if you look in the woods, you can see there's rubbish discarded everywhere around the house. So, let's have a look at the chat. Bio father is living at this woman's that we've just been watching, Karen. So there were other adults living on the property. Yes, that's true. Here's an interesting question. Thank you for this one, Michelle. So the bear population, I don't live in Canada. I don't know what the bear population's like, but I have, when looking into other cases, heard that they'd leave some form of signs of a struggle or something along them lines, and that no signs or anything. But again, that is a question that I'd like to know. So thank you for highlighting that. Very suspicious, I know. But again, we don't know what's happened yet. But your opinions are welcome as long as they're respectful. You can have them. Everyone is entitled to them. Where's the father now? So father lives with, as I said, the woman that we're listening to now. He's lived there for 11 months. Okay. Okay, so he lost his job, car, house, and moved in with mom and hasn't paid child support since losing his job. Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks for that. So when she brings up her... Turn that on silent. So when she brings up her son, I do feel double standard. She talks calmly about how her son gave up on the children. He didn't get his own way in the situation he created because he went in for sole custody at first and things like that. She says her son hasn't seen his kids since the custody battle 3 years ago and woes him. One more thing I'd like to highlight is Grandma says Malaya let her see the kids whenever she wanted, and she had a deep affection for the children, yet she hadn't seen them for over a year. Let me know what you think as I move forward. Please remember your opinion is fine and valued, but please keep it respectful. And here's clip 3. There we go. Here's clip 3.
Were you ever formally questioned?
Yes.
So then it's about a month after Lily and Jack are last seen that they come and formally question you.
So it's about 3 weeks. They questioned Cody for an hour and a half in the vehicle, and then they questioned me for 2 hours in the vehicle.
How did that feel to you?
I didn't mind. I mean, to me, I expected I'm the grandmother, so it wasn't a surprise to me. I'm assuming the sooner they do all that, I wish they would have done it sooner, that the sooner they can move on. So I didn't have a problem. My son was a little upset about it. He said they made him feel like he did something wrong, and he said he hadn't seen the kids in 3 years. So he was a little upset about it, that he said that they really come at him hard. They wanted to know what her favorite color was, and he said, they were babies when I seen them last. He said, she was just learning what she wanted to figure out to eat. I don't know what her color is. So yeah, he was pretty upset.
Have they ever talked to him again since then?
A couple of days ago, they had contact, and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything's fine.
And have they ever given you any information?
No, it's always the same thing.
Which is what?
They've got everybody on it. They are looking at all avenues. They can't divulge any information that could compromise their investigation. It's the exact same words.
Why are you so sure they're not in the woods?
I have children. I have grandchildren. And I see what kids are like through the woods. There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not. I think somebody hurt these kids. I think somebody hurt them.
You don't sound very hopeful.
No. Our last day searching on Monday and seeing the woods and seeing the searchers and everybody everywhere. There's no way those kids are in the woods. There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old. And they deserve so much better than what they got.
Okay, so she talks about how it's been 3 weeks, as this is dated, and she didn't mind or wasn't shocked about the police contact and how it was standard procedure. She said her son was upset about it because it had been 3 years since he seen them and he couldn't answer their questions because he hadn't seen them. He didn't know their favourite colours. She believes the children were harmed, backing this with the conditions out there and how she feels they wouldn't have gotten very far had they just wandered off. So again, I'm not getting any red flags with this woman, just that she's very protective of her son, who seems to be a mommy's boy, who should have done more to see his kids. I don't personally believe either were involved. What do you guys think? And here I've got a bit about the criminal record, and people posting it all over saying it's the dad, but it's not the dad. That's the images that I showed earlier. I'll show them again quickly while we're here. So this is not bio dad. This man is in custody. It's just someone with the same or similar name. This is what I've seen when looking through Facebook and things like that. It's not the dad. People have highlighted that it's not the dad, but you know how online can be. So, June 19th, stepdad Daniel spoke to CBC News, Nova Scotia. I'm going to play that clip now and let you react to it in the comments, in the chat, if you're in the live chat. So this is stepdad Daniel, and this is his reaction to the investigation and things that he knows.
I know the truth. I didn't kill Lily and Jack.
It's been 6 weeks now since you've seen Lily and Jack. I just want to ask, how are you holding up?
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanting to know like what happened. It's been from sadness to anger at this point. And I know the RCMP and major crimes are working around the clock trying to piece everything together, and I'm grateful for that. But it always leaves the question, 6 weeks has gone by, and we know at this point they're not in the woods, and where are they?
Did you feel in the beginning that they suspected you?
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
You felt that from the beginning?
Yeah.
But you don't feel that now?
No, I don't feel that at all. I asked for the lie detector exam, the polygraph exam. I gave them my phone. I told them do drug tests because there's a lot of rumors online about a drug party. Mm-hmm. I know the person that said those rumors, and it was just to take the heat off themselves.
Was there any kind of party?
No.
Was there any kind of gathering that someone might have thought was a party?
No.
There were no people at the house?
No. Not the night before.
Okay, you mentioned you offered to take a polygraph test.
Yeah.
Did the RCMP take you up on that?
Yes, they did.
And how did that unfold?
That unfolded in my favor. They obviously know I wasn't lying about anything.
So they said, yep, great, thank you, come in for a polygraph test.
Yeah, it took a little while to set up. And
when did you do that test?
I don't know the exact date, but that would be at least 3 weeks ago, probably.
So roughly 3 weeks after the disappearance.
Yeah.
And I think
Okay, so someone just sent me this, and asked me if I'd read it out on the live. This is from a woman on Facebook. She put, "Look at what I figured out. These kids, Lily and Jack, 6 and 4, went missing on May 2nd, 2025. And Dylan earlier, 3, went missing May the 6th, 2020. All in Nova Scotia, same month, same age group, 5 years apart. No body was recovered. No parent was convicted. 3 kids vanished without a trace in a small place. Only 45 minutes from each other's location. And that's more than coincidence. Can you bring this? Can you talk about this? I just figured this out the other day, and I'm state of New Jersey. Do you think I should call Nova Scotia Police? No one asked about it or mentioned this coincidence. There you are. I've highlighted it. I don't know that, but chat. I've read it out for her. You can do with it what you want. It is kind of coincidental. I'd be losing my mind. Meant to say, these are taking forever to come up. Find a cent, okay, yeah. Well, I'd have thought they'd, gone from where the kids were last seen to, which was in the house, and gone with the dogs there. I don't understand that. No, if you'd have led them to the road, they could have put an Amber Alert out then. Okay, so let's go over what Daniel just said. Daniel says he didn't kill them, and how it's been a long 6 weeks. He knows people want to know what happened. RCMP raised questions for him, and he's frustrated but understands the situation. He seems calm and collected and moves on to talk about the polygraph, showing it in his favour, and that he's offered drug tests because of online rumours spanning from people involved trying to take the heat off of themselves, as he says. Furthermore, he highlights that there wasn't a party or a family gathering that night, although I'm not getting any red flags. One thing I'm seeing here is I haven't seen from anyone else that he's defensive and points blame elsewhere without naming names, which he did do. What do you guys think about that? Remember to keep your opinion respectful, as we don't know all the facts, but your opinions are wanted. Okay. So June 20th, Warden Robert Parker of Pictou County discusses with CBC News the effects this case has had on the local community. And here's the clip for you now. Oh my God, Aurora, you've mixed me thing up. So on to the warden. So this is clip 1 from the warden.
Nearly 7 weeks have passed since Jack and Lily Sullivan vanished from their home in Nova Scotia's Pictou County. The RCMP have received more than 500 tips from the public, but despite those and extensive searches, the children have not been found. The province is now offering up to $150,000 for information in the case of the 2 missing children. Police are asking anyone with information to call a number that they've set up to receive tips. For more on what this means for people in Pictou County, we're joined by Robert Parker. He's the warden there. And Robert, this cash reward that's being offered for information, what impact do you think that's going to have on getting tips in?
It could have significant impact. Obviously, if things have gone awry here, which it appears they have, and if there is criminal involvement, that's quite a bit of money. And so maybe somebody's lips will loosen a little. We hope so, because this does not deserve to be handled in the way it's being handled.
It has been weeks now since these two little kids disappeared. How's the community doing?
Frustrated, I would put at the top of the list, and sort of on edge. Everybody wants to find out what happened, I guess is what I'm hearing most people say, and they're frustrated by not getting some answers, and not blaming anyone, but clearly frustrated and almost afraid to hear the news. They're almost afraid to turn the news on in case it's what they don't want to hear. Although I think most people are prepared maybe now for that.
Yeah, no, it's been a long, long time. So when you have a case like this that drags on for a long time, I'm sure, I think you and I talked about this weeks ago, lots of rumors in the community, and those rumors can be pretty corrosive. And so how's the community dealing with that, about the rumors about what may have happened?
I think most people would rather not have the rumors out there, to wait and let the RCMP do their job, and then deal with whatever comes out of that investigation. But unfortunately, we can't control people's emotions and people's thoughts, and it's one thing to talk about it in private, what you or somebody else thinks might have happened, but not to put it on public. And I've even been told that some people are making money off of this, which is a real tragedy too, by leaning on the story of little Jack and little Lily to pick up an audience that then advertisers will pay them for.
While
Okay. So Aurora, you did, because the email's not in the same order that I sent it, yeah? So the warden says he feels that the reward is significant to help locate the children, and if there is a criminal involvement, he can help resolve the case. Asked how the community is doing weeks into the investigation, he says frustrated and on edge. Everybody wants to know what happened. People are afraid to turn on the news in case of the worst, but are starting to prepare themselves for the worst. Interviewer asks him how the community are handling rumours surrounding the case. He says most people would rather not have them and allow RCMP to do their job. He says he's saddened to hear that people are making money from the rumours, which is sad to him and the community. I looked up this case for you guys, and I have to agree, there are a lot of uncomfortable rumours circulating, which I've seen from creators and members of Facebook groups declaring themselves investigators. And yet, I've been told by 3 people they are an online investigator. I've chosen not to address these to point them out, as I don't want to harm coming from my channel towards anyone in the case. I did, however, address the criminal record of the bio dad, as it's false and it needs addressing. Here's the second clip of the warden.
While you were talking, giving that last answer, we were seeing some pictures of the search. While you were talking, giving that last answer, we were seeing some pictures of the search, and we saw a drone and, police officers, search and rescue officials. A lot of time and effort and person power has been spent on searching, especially the woodsy area near the house. And as far as I know, virtually nothing has turned up. You must, the area well. Do you think there's a possibility that these kids wandered in those woods, or do you figure they must be somewhere else?
Well, there's always a possibility, and the RCMP seem pretty well stuck on the fact that they're in that woods, and if we keep looking, we'll find them. And I hope maybe they're right, but the woods is terribly rough terrain there. After Hurricane or Tropical Storm Fiona went through, everything is crisscrossed in there, and there is a chance that little ones could crawl in under a big spruce tree root and be well hidden from anybody that walked by. So there's always a chance, but an awful lot of people have gone through there looking, and professional searchers, and haven't found anything. So I think the general public is thinking that there's something different here than lost in the woods.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating for people there. When you heard the news out of Quebec, now we're talking 3 to 4 days as opposed to 6 or 7 weeks, but of the 3-year-old who was found alive and well in Eastern Ontario, what did you make of that story?
I think it raised people's hopes around here, but they are very different situations for sure. But there was sort of a peak in hope, and there still is hope. There's always hope until we find out otherwise. But I think the only hope left for our little ones is if somebody did abduct them, and hopefully somebody who was doing that for a loving cause and not otherwise, that perhaps they could still be safe somewhere maybe far away from here. I think that's in the back of a lot of people's minds, is not maybe the most likely possibility, but still a possibility, and people are hanging on that. When they saw Little Claire, I think that raised those hopes a bit, to know that something positive can happen. Again, very different circumstances, but we never lose hope until it's over.
Absolutely. Well said, Robert. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Okay. So he's asked in this what the possibility of Jack and Lily being in the area of interest. He says there's always a possibility, and he highlights after the hurricane. After the hurricane, it's really bad out there, but there is a chance. Then points out that the general public feel that because of all the professionals that have been through the area, that something else must have happened, which is where I stand. But what that is, I don't know, because there's so much information we don't know, like what's on the footage of interest, what has been highlighted through the many interviews. And the interview goes on about the case involving and finding missing children. The warden says he feels that it has raised hope in the area, and that they have hope, but as time goes on, it is more than likely that something else happened. But it hopes that they've been taken for loving reasons and not criminal reasons. Okay, so we're moving into the last part now. We've got 2 more clips, and this is the latest update. This update is from law enforcement themselves. Again, everything's moved about. Okay, so here we have the latest from law enforcement. This clip was released on June 23rd, and this is the latest Aurora and I could find. In this clip, he goes over the investigation from the beginning. There's no signs of abduction as of yet, but they are investigating all angles. children are often located quickly. They were in the area searching for a kayaker at the time. Here's the clip. I'll leave you to make your own minds.
To be clear, we don't have evidence to suggest that an abduction took place at this time.
Is it something you're still investigating, whether or not they could have been abducted?
So we're exploring all investigative avenues. So on the morning of May 2nd, approximately 10 a.m., RCMP officers received a call about 2 missing children in Lansdowne Station. The information at the time was that they wandered off away from the property, and I can tell you that our officers got at the scene very quickly, and we were monitoring the situation and hopefully finding the children very soon after that.
So it's very quickly. Officers arrive, and then what? You expected, it sounds like you're saying, that you'd find the children quickly, or hoped you would anyways. That didn't happen.
So Kayla, what I can tell you, from experience, you look at missing children. I've been involved with a handful of cases since I've been with Strategic Communications. Most oftentimes, the children are located very quickly after officers arrive at the scene, right? And that's our hope every single time, that they wandered off and you can find the children. Because I'm sure, like every officer out there, I'm not on the road currently, but your heart is pounding, the adrenaline is rushing, you're trying to find those children, right?
This case started just like that?
That's
what you're
correct.
describing, you thought you'd go there, find them very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And our officers were nearby in an ongoing search for a kayaker that had gone missing the day prior. I can tell you I was monitoring the situation remotely, and our officers, I could tell they were getting there as quickly as possible.
There are some, as you are aware, many theories out there. Some people think, well, maybe it's really just a tragic accident. Maybe they just wandered off into the woods. But you've said that it's suspicious. So at the very least, why does the RCMP view this case as suspicious?
So every missing persons investigation is suspicious until it's proven that it's not. If we don't have that information to say that it's not suspicious, we have to continue to assume that it is suspicious and access those resources and tools and follow up those tips and find that evidence until we find the people that are missing.
So you don't think they were abducted, but you can't find them. How do 2 young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information. And to date, we've received close to 500 tips. So we have to follow up on those tips, right? Whether it's a tip that indicates that there could be something that happened elsewhere in the province, elsewhere in the country, we have to follow up on those investigative tips to rule them out. And to this date, we haven't had any confirmed sightings.
But there have been tips that lead you to other parts of the country that you had to check.
As with any investigation, oftentimes we do get tips that you have to verify that are elsewhere, yes.
You have said that the children were last seen alive the day before. Can you tell me about the nature of that?
So we know they were seen in public with loved ones the day prior. The specifics aren't being released at this time.
Okay, and so that's the day before, so that's May 1st, but you've specifically asked for video back to April 28th. What's the reason for that?
When you establish a timeline for any investigation, you want to know where these individuals were prior. They may have been in contact with someone that you want to know who that person is. You may see something on that footage that you didn't know about prior to that. We talked about license plates earlier and seeing them from a different angle. You might see someone that's known elsewhere. Maybe it's someone that's known to police. You never know. We really are seeking all investigative avenues in this case.
There have been
I strongly agree with this. He's doing a great job at answering the questions, especially in the next bit. The next clip, he explains about the Amber Alerts and all that. Yeah, he does do a good job. I think compared to investigations I've seen before, although it doesn't seem like a lot's happening, these guys do seem like they're switched on. So the next clip is the same guy, and he talks about the Amber Alerts, and he talks about why they wasn't issued. He also discusses do they know anything from the investigation so far regarding to family members' involvement and things like that?
There have been some complaints that an Amber Alert was not issued. I understand that the criteria is very specific. Was that considered? Is it still possible?
Absolutely, Kayla. You know, on the day of the incident, I can tell you I was working. I reviewed the policy that morning. We have to have a suspect or a person of interest when it comes to abduction or a vehicle. You know, in terms of sending out an alert, when you send an Amber Alert, you want to direct the public to look for a specific vehicle, to look for that license plate, to look for that suspicious person, to have a photo of someone or more information to suggest that there was an abduction. In this case, you know, they are young children, certainly vulnerable people, and a vulnerable person alert was issued.
Does the RCMP know what happened here? Even if you can't tell me, do you know?
So what I can tell you is that we're exploring all investigative avenues.
Do you have a case? Are you building a specific case that's leading you in a certain direction?
In this case, the investigation is still being investigated under the Missing Persons Act.
It sort of seems from the last news release that you issued, the reason I'm asking these questions, I read that news release and I thought, I don't think they have any idea what happened here.
You know, when it comes to missing people, it's very complex. It can be very long-term investigations. It can be difficult on first responders, especially when it involves vulnerable people. And we have to be patient, and we have to follow the leads and follow the facts and evidence that we gather to bring us to locating the children.
Does the RCMP think Lily and Jack could still be alive?
That's a great question, and we want to locate them and find them. And our goal is to investigate every single avenue until we find them.
Is it possible at this point?
That's a great question, and our role is to find them in the evidence surrounding their disappearance.
You mentioned a lot of the tips you're getting. I'm sure you're aware there's extraordinary public interest in this case. Some people are frustrated that the RCMP is not saying more. We understand it's an active investigation. And in some cases, the lack of information leads to speculation, and rumors are rampant online, and that's done some harm on the family in this case as well. What, though, would you say to the public who are begging for answers and just want to know what's happened here?
We have to be patient and certainly rely on our news releases and official sources of information. You know, don't listen to those rumors that are out there. We're putting out those news releases on a regular basis with information pertaining to the investigation. We have to be very cautious as to what type of information we release because we want to make sure that it doesn't affect the investigation.
I think some people in the public are starting to wonder, is it possible that we may never find out what happened to Lily and Jack? Is that possible?
I wouldn't be able to answer you that question today, but I can tell you that our investigators are seasoned. They are committed. I've worked with some of them personally prior in my career, and I can tell you that they are committed investigators to this missing children's investigation.
So he went over the Amber Alert and why it wasn't issued. He also asked about if RCMP know anything they can tell the public. So the Amber Alert wasn't issued because there wasn't a suspect or a vehicle of interest. Amber Alerts are very specific in this region. When asked, are RCMP building a case, he replied they are looking into all avenues. She asked some really interesting questions here. I like how a lack of information has harmed the family. Huh? Oh, okay. So I like how the fact she says lack of information has harmed the family, and his response is don't listen to rumors. They're being careful about what information they can release, not to ruin the investigation. A final question stood out. Is there a possibility that the public would never find out what happened to Jack and Lily? I like his answer. He didn't go straight forward to answer, but he said that his officers are seasoned in dealing with these matters, and that gives me confidence going forward. What about you guys? While you ponder on that, I just want to highlight This was the latest we could find on regarding law enforcement speaking out on the investigation. I know it's been 2 months, but there are cases that have gone on for 4 years where officers don't speak up, and when they do, they attack persons of interests on the news. I feel that slowed these investigations down, i.e. Summer Wells, Sheriff Lawson, and how he didn't seem to be on the same page as the TBI. He seemed more bothered about covering up regarding his son. And TBI didn't have the same approach as him with the media. So what we've learned is that it's a very active investigation, and that Ellie is active in every avenue of the investigation. As the investigation goes on, people will go from one avenue and filter into the other avenue as that avenue wears down. Is there anything that anyone would like to highlight or discuss before we end the live? Again, I'm going to show pictures of Jack and Lily just because it's their case. They're the ones missing, and they're the ones that always need to be on. This is them from school. Yep, there we go. And this is, I don't know when these pictures were taken, but these match the description that's given in the flyer. Short blonde hair, shoulder length brown hair with bangs. I'm sure Ellie are watching everyone. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I genuinely think that, in my opinion, I think it might be they've hid the kids away for whatever reason, whether it be to get away or whatever the reason might be. That that's also the best possibility. Because I wouldn't like to think, they've been abducted by a stranger, or, put my head in that, or that the kids are still out there in the forest. Because let's be honest with each other, if they are, then that's not good. That's not. Oh, we're a moth. That's not good for the kids. Someone just asked, "Are you Aussie, Scottish, or Welsh?" No, I'm English. I'll read that comment. I'll reply to that in a minute. So that's all the information that I've got. If you're just joining, please go back to the beginning, listen to the interviews, and piece together your own thoughts from that. It's great watching people online. I watch It's a Crime in Shame, but I don't get why personal messages that are being shared. Not in Crime in Shame for doing it, but Daniel's apparently sending these messages to him, and then Malaya's then sending messages, and it to me, I don't see how it helps the investigation. It just creates rumors, speculation, and things like that. I did deep dive if I could find anything on CPS taking the other child. I can't see anything. I can't find anything. Nor do I expect to be honest. I'd like to thank all the members for the support in the channel. Thanks everyone who's watching or coming at some point. Those that are on the replay, thank you. Please remember, hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll be Frank, you be the audience.